Good morning and welcome. Welcome to everyone joining us this morning, for it is good to be together. We gather Madison Unitarian Universalists, members and friends of First Unitarian Society, James Reeb Unitarian Universalist Congregation, and Prairie Unitarian Universalist Society. We are so glad that you are able to join us this morning in this virtual community that we are creating today. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called by love to cultivate relationship, to nurture mind and spirit, and to grow justice in the world. We are learning how to do this together. In a time of social distancing, as we hold all of the things that have been canceled, travel plans, work gatherings, events and programs, our in-person gatherings, and we remember, as we gather today, all that remains. We know that love is not canceled. Compassion is not canceled. Human goodness and the resilience of spirits, these are never canceled. These remain with us today and always. In a moment, we will be lighting the chalices of our three congregations, and we invite you to light a chalice of your own at home. We love the idea of these chalice flames burning brightly throughout our homes and our wider community. We also wanted to invite you into a sharing of your joys and sorrows. If there is something that you would like to share with our gathered community, please type it into the live chat if possible. You can also email me your sorrows and your joys. It's kellyc@fusmadison.org. We will be monitoring your comments and email messages throughout our service, and we will include your thoughts later during the cares of the congregation. Let us now join together in a few moments of silence for contemplation and meditation and prayer as we become fully present with ourselves and with one another.
Wash your hands like you are washing the only teacup left that your great-grandmother carried across the ocean. Like you are washing the hair of a beloved who is dying. Like you are washing the feet of Grace Lee Boggs, Beyonce, Jesus, your auntie, Audre Lorde, Mary Oliver. You get the picture. Like this water is poured from a jug your best friend just carried for 3 miles from the spring they had to climb a mountain to reach. Like water is a precious resource made from time and miracle.
Wash your hands and cough into your elbow, they say. Rest more, stay home, drink water, have some soup, they say. To which I would add, burn some plants your ancestors burned when there was fear in the air. Boil some aromatic leaves in a pot on your stove until your windows steam up. Open your windows. Eat a piece of garlic every day. Tie a clove around your neck. Breathe.
My friends, it is always true, these things. It has already been time. It is always true that we should move with care and intention, asking, Do you want to bump elbows instead? With everyone we meet. It is always true that people are living with one lung, with immune systems that don't work well, or perhaps work too hard fighting against themselves. It is already true that people are hoarding the things that the most vulnerable need.
It is already time that we might want to fly on airplanes less and not go to work when we are sick. It is already time that we might want to know who in our neighborhood has cancer, who has a new baby, who is old, with children in another state, who has extra water, who has a root cellar, who is a nurse, who has a garden full of elecampane and nettles. It is already time that temporarily non-disabled people think about people living with chronic illness and disabled folks, that young people think about old people. It is already time to stop using synthetic fragrances to not smell like bodies, to pretend like we're all not dying. It is already time to remember that those scents make so many of us sick. It is already time to not take it personally when someone doesn't want to hug you. It is already time to slow down and feel how scared we are.
We are already afraid. We are already living in the time of fires. When fear arises, and it will, let it wash over your whole body instead of staying curled up tight in your shoulders. If your heart tightens, contract and expand. Science says compassion strengthens the immune system.
We already know that, but capitalism gives us amnesia and tricks us into thinking it's the thing that protects us. But it's the way we hold the thing, the way we do the thing. Those of us who have forgotten amuletic traditions, we turn to hoarding hand sanitizers and masks. We find someone to blame. We think that will help. Want to blame something? Blame capitalism. Blame patriarchy. Blame white supremacy.
It is already time to remember to hang garlic on our doors, to dip our handkerchiefs in thyme tea, to rub salt on our feet, to pray the rosary, kiss the mezuzah, cleanse with an egg. In the middle of the night, when you wake up with terror in your belly, it is time to think about stardust and geological time, redwoods and dance parties, and mushrooms remediating toxic soil. It is time to care for one another, to pray over water, to wash away fear every time we wash our hands. I invite you now to light your personal chalice now as we light the chalices here. And together we read the words of affirmation as found on the slide. We light this chalice because it is time to care for one another, to pray over water, to wash away fear every time we wash our hands. And in the tradition of James Reeb UU congregation, we share this chalice lighting song, our chalice response.
May the light which is before you nurture and sustain the light within you. And now we'll sing together hymn number 346. The words are projected on your screen. And we will sing the first 2 verses that we are used to and the 3rd verse with some alternate words. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come wash your hands with me. Come wash your hands with me. Come wash your hands with me, that we might have peace of mind. And I'll bring you soap when soap is hard to find. And I'll sing this song with you as we have protect humankind.
Yes, indeed. Come wash your hands with me. Come sing a song with me. Come read a book with me. This morning's message for all ages comes from the wisdom of Peter H. Reynolds, who wrote a book and illustrated a book entitled Ish. And it goes like this. Ramon loved to draw. Anytime, anything, and anywhere. One day, Ramon was drawing a vase of flowers, and his brother Leon leaned over his shoulder. Leon burst out laughing. "What is that?" Ramon could not even answer. He just crumpled up the drawing and threw it across the room. Leon's laughter haunted Ramon. He kept trying to make his drawings look right, but they never did. After many months and many crumpled sheets of paper, Ramon put his pencil down. "I'm done." Now, Marisol, his sister, was watching him. "What do you want?" he snapped. "I was watching you draw," she said. Ramon sneered. "I'm not drawing. Go away." Marisol ran away, but not before picking up a crumpled sheet of paper. "Hey, come back here with that," Ramon said. Ramon raced after Marisol up the hall and into her room. He was about to yell, but fell silent when he saw his sister's walls. He stared at the crumpled gallery. "This is one of my favorites," Marisol said, pointing. "This was supposed to be a vase of flowers," Ramon said, "but it doesn't look like one." "Well, it looks vase-ish," she exclaimed. "Vase-ish?" Ramon looked closer. He studied all the drawings on Marisol's walls and began to see them in a whole new way. They do look ish, he said. Ramon felt light and energized, thinking ishly allowed his ideas to flow freely. He began to draw what he felt, loose lines, quickly springing out without worry. Ramon once again drew and drew the world around him. Making an ish drawing felt wonderful. He filled his journals with images of tree-ish, house-ish, boat-ish, afternoon-ish, fish-ish, and sun-ish. Ramon realized that he could draw his ish feelings too. Peace-ish, silly-ish, and excited-ish. His ish art inspired ish writing. He wasn't sure if he was writing poems, but he knew they were poem-ish. Ponder is the name of his poem on that piece of paper there. It says, "Pond, ponder, dream yonder, pond, pond, yond, yond, gleam, wander." Ramon. One spring morning, Ramon had a wonderful feeling. It was a feeling that even ish words and ish drawings could not capture. He decided not to capture it. Instead, he simply savored it. And Ramon lived ishly ever after. We are going to sing again, hymn number 10,008. If you have a teal hymnal, it would be in that. But of course, the words are on these slides.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. is in a holy place.
Sure.
We originally were planning on having some graduates of the UW Odyssey Project come and share their reflections with us this morning. And because of unprecedented world events, we have asked Rachel and Renee to read a couple of those reflections on their behalf.
Perfectionism by Latrice Hibbler. My drive toward perfectionism has made me hypercritical of myself as well as other people. Constructive feedback, so often toxic to my core where perfectionism lived. I experienced failure when I did not meet expected goals from this core of perfectionism. Too often, my fear of failure would rise up, and I would quit trying. I still have an old thought lingering in my mind that I am only likable if I am perfect. Perfectionism is like quicksand. It pulls one down like an ever-sinking, unachievable pit. As I heal into my true self, this old belief slips back in and challenges me. I know perfectionism is a trap, and I just watch it. This belief does not rule me anymore. I know now that this awareness can be painful but enlightening, and so often it is the most courageous part of growing. I have learned that the more one accepts and forgives oneself, accepting and forgiving others becomes automatic. Wouldn't it be great if we could better celebrate our own imperfections the way we celebrate our loved ones?
This is Forgiveness by Karina Harajan. I sometimes lie awake for hours with the intense feelings of shame about myself. Over the years, forgiveness, a power able to transform even the loneliest and most damaging holes into holy pathways to truth and understanding, has battled bravely against the swallowing monster that is shame. I have a reading comprehension learning disability. At 25, I've become so familiar with the daily wounding and borderline paralyzing thought of feeling stupid. My mom's arms at 11 hold me as I ask her, sobbing, why God has made me stupid. She answers that God has made me perfect. For a second in her arms, I close my eyes and believe her. Forgiveness is a state of mind that fights more fiercely in everyone's favor than any opponent. At 16, I chose to forgive my teachers for letting me despair of learning to read at grade level. At 19, I chose to enroll in college and earn semesters on the dean's list. At 25, I choose to use forgiveness as my sword to cut down the idea that I need saving because I'm disadvantaged. I forgive myself for learning differently. I forgive others for not understanding that this difference is a strength beyond measure.
your broken hallelujah here. Bring the large one that is beyond repair. Bring the small one that is too soft to share. I know that people have told you that before you can give, you have to get yourself together. They overstated the value of perfection by a lot. Or they forgot. You are the gift. We all bring broken things, songs and dreams and long-lost hopes, but here, together, we reach within. As a community, we begin again, and from the pieces we will build something new. There is work only you can do. We wait for you. So writes the Reverend Teresa Soto. This indeed has been quite a week of broken hallelujahs. If hallelujah is usually used as an expression of rejoicing, then I know of many brokens amongst these expressions. Our world feels broken right now. The coronavirus pandemic has changed our lives in ways we cannot count. At the beginning of this week, I had plans to travel for work and play. At the beginning of this week, friends thought they were going to Italy or Florida or fill in the blank. At the beginning of this week, people were anticipating birthday celebrations, memorial services, weddings, potlucks, conferences, sporting events, concerts, and more. At the beginning of this week, I thought 6 graduates of the UW's Odyssey Project were going to share the reflections on perfectionism and forgiveness. At the beginning of this week, I did not even think of phrases like social distancing and flattening the curve. And now it seems that everything is broken. Even this worship service has been broken, or maybe simply things have been canceled, postponed, or reimagined. Like people all over the world, we as a Unitarian Universalist people are being asked to reimagine how we gather in community. We are called to be innovative, collaborative, creative, to reconnect with one another in new ways, given our interdependent web of all existence. And that is why Reverend Doug has agreed to say a few words today about the wisdom that we might draw from during this pandemic.
Thanks, Karin. So yes, this week I thought at this point of the day on Sunday that I would be preaching at James Reeb Unitarian Universalist congregation and speaking with them about knowing ourselves as a source of important wisdom. Well, that still is very important to this time and this place. We have to begin now, especially with knowing ourselves, knowing where we really are, knowing where our own sources of strength lie, knowing where it is that our places of anger, our fear, are influencing us deeply. And with that knowledge, to be aware of what is motivating us and to be thoughtful about the ways that some larger love, some deeper understanding of what is true beyond the fear of this moment, what call to deep connection might really help us move through this time more fully, more gracefully, more lovingly. We draw from many different sources of wisdom We begin with our own self-knowledge, but we don't stay there. We draw from the important gifts that we give to each other. Throughout this week, as we have planned this worship service, we have benefited from the ideas and thoughts of our colleagues and people of all faiths all over the world. From our own president, Susan Frederick Gray, the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, we were called together to remember to center the concerns of those who are most vulnerable to the coronavirus. And so we, this week, tried to make choices so that we would not only prevent ourselves from spreading this virus to folks within our congregations that are most vulnerable, but that in general we would try to participate with the larger effort as we have begun again to think about the idea of flattening the curve, to make sure that in this time, this initial time, that we each do whatever we can to free up the resources so that especially medical attention and groceries and other things may go to the people who need them most. And our wisdom calls us further than that. It calls us to remember that in this time, we will naturally be overwhelmed with our own thoughts and fears, but there is a larger world that has not stopped in its challenges. And the people that were most challenged before we were aware of the power of the coronavirus are still in the midst of living their lives with those challenges. And there is wisdom in not completely forgetting that larger sense of connection. May we use this time as a teachable moment in each of our congregations, in each of our lives, that while it impacts us each individually, we also can be called to the larger understanding of what it asks of us, what it may teach us, what it may call us to do that is larger and stronger than what we are able to do as individuals, what our own private concerns might ask of us. May we think about what this might say to us as a world community, learning from each other, supporting one another. This is yet another important time for Unitarian Universalism, participating with every faith tradition, to understand more fully who we are, how we really relate in this time and in this place to each other, and to let that wisdom, that direct experience of what is deeply true in this time, call us into more full relationship with one another. We are deeply grateful that we have joined together as the three congregations here in Madison, and that we are connected not only to Unitarian Universalists, but to all people of goodwill all over this planet now, more than ever. May we draw from that wisdom. May it call us to something deeper. May it help us find our best and most powerful self now. So may it be.
At the beginning of this week, I thought I was going to be preaching on the pitfalls of perfectionism. That's why I chose the Message for All Ages book, Ish. It reminds me to let go of perfectionism and embrace a life of living ishly. So how are you dealing with the pandemic? Oh, ishly. And our readings from Latrice and Karina of the UW Odyssey Project, they underscore this as well. Perfectionism is like quicksand, Latrice writes. It just sucks us in. The more one accepts and forgives oneself, accepting and forgiving others becomes automatic. The more we can live ishly in these times, the more we can help others accept and forgive themselves, helping them also live more ishly. Today's worship service is one big experiment in letting go of perfectionism. In practicing forgiveness for errors made or toes stepped on, for theology that makes us cringe or rituals that seem out of step for us. It's an experiment of learning, of leaning into our wisdom as a community of Unitarian Universalists, coming together during times of change, times of need. What a gift to be together in whatever ways we can. May we stay careful and stay connected. I leave you with this poem written by the UU minister, Reverend Lynn Unger. It is entitled Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny that now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Blessed be, and amen.
As we move into the time of offering, this is a different experience of offering in some ways. And in other ways, it is actually very much what it always is. We could find so many ways for us to receive the financial resources that we need to support this congregation. A lot of the importance of it being part of our time of worship is to remind us how deeply integrated it is into all that we are. And that is true in this time especially because many of us are likely anxious about what will happen in the world during this time around our economy, both in the larger sense and in our personal lives. And so may this be a time where we think about how we want to approach this period in our history. That as a group, we are anchored again and again by certain core values, especially in times of crisis. In this time, may we turn to kindness, compassion, justice, gratitude. And from that place, may we realize how abundant we are in resources, whatever the truth of our lives. And from that place, may we be generous. I invite you, either now if you are able to on a device or after this live stream, to go to the FUS homepage. You will see there on the homepage this live stream place that allows you to click. And to the right, there is a place that you can click that will bring up a page that has each of the congregations listed. And underneath each of the congregations, a link to be able to go and give to those congregations so that you may be generous as you are able. We are especially aware that we continue to do our outreach offerings, and so we will keep you aware of those. We just had readings from the Odyssey Project, and so we hope that you will give to the Odyssey Project today by following one of those links. There's more information about their important work of connecting the humanities with people in our community to help them rediscover and expand their understanding of their lives. In this time, may we find a way of connecting with each other, being as generous as possible, and letting that generosity change what we are able to do in this time of difficulty, crisis, and opportunity. The offering will now be given and received in such a spirit.
I begin our time of sharing with this prayer from Richard Hendrick. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that Yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be a disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen, behind the factory noises of panic, the birds are singing again. The sky is clearing, spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. Today, knowing that we cannot touch across this space we share, we open the windows of our souls and the doors of our hearts to welcome in the cares of those who've gathered with us this day. And Renee and Rachel will light candles on your behalf. We start with Dorrit's candle as she holds in her thoughts those of us who may be experiencing a more acute sense of loneliness at this time. Tim's candle holding all those who cannot visit family members in their times of loneliness. A candle for the incarcerated and the detained who do not have the ability or the luxury of social or physical distance. Deb's candle sending love to families struggling to care for their children, their parents, their neighbors, themselves. Ed's candle of joy to see the local UU communities band together, step up, and continue to creatively express our values in even these trying times. Much gratitude. A candle for a young adult who was offered a job on Monday, who then learned on Friday her employment is on hold because the events in the venue are suspended. A candle for our family members and friends who do not have the option of working from home. A candle for a mother who fell and awaits medical care in the hospital with her offspring at her side. Karen Rose's candle is one of sorrow for her dear friend Sylvia's daughter Allison, who passed away this week in Chicago. She was 45 and had fought a valiant and dignified struggle with cancer for the past 2 years. Leah Sinclair's candle is one of joy, a joy to be at home at her parents' home now, again after a very scary illness, to be able to return to Elvenstead soon. A thank you to everyone who supported her when she was scared and confused. A thank you for all the concerned phone calls, and a special thank you to Roz and Kelly. Alyssa and Winnie's candle reminds us that COVID-19 can't change everything. And they say this as they find comfort in a modified Sunday routine. And I will say to Winnie and Thea, and to all of our children watching from all 3 congregations, how much we miss you, how much we miss seeing your faces this morning, and we hope to see you virtually this week. And finally, candles of gratitude, many, maybe we'll do one in each bowl. Candle of gratitude from Alice and Rebecca, Alyssa and Mary Kay, Mike and Anne, Dar and Cynthia and Roger and Claire. Gratitude for beloved community. Gratitude for our shared traditions. Gratitude for the ability to be together from many places. A deep bow of gratitude and love for being together and for singing out loud in our living rooms. May we remember today and always all that connects us, all that holds us close, all that brings us hope. May we remember to pause today, to breathe and to give thanks, and to allow love to be born again within us, this day and all the days to come. Blessed be, and amen.
Hello, everybody. You're looking great. I'm Steve Goldberg, a very proud photogenic member of First Unitarian Society, and I have the pleasure of making some announcements as we draw this service to a close. My first announcement is that I had no trouble finding a parking spot this morning, and I'm grateful for that. Usually in these announcements, we thank people who have made this service run smoothly, such as the ushers, the greeters, those who are preparing the coffee, and so on. But instead, we want to thank our sister congregations, James Reeb and Prairie, represented by Rachel and Renee, for joining with us in this collective congregational service. We are pleased to announce that instead of real coffee, we're offering virtual coffee hours. And on the screen, you can see how to join in those virtual coffee hours and show signs of fellowship with each other. And speaking of fellowship, one thing that our three congregations share is a stewardship campaign. And in the next week's service, we'll give you some updates on the campaign progress at both James Reeb and at Prairie. I'm pleased to give you a quick update on the stewardship campaign progress here at First Unitarian Society. We've raised more than half of the campaign goal, and as you know, the campaign enables us to bring to the congregation all the things that we value, such as our youth programming so that young people will feel valued here, our family programming so that families can thrive at First Unitarian Society, and so we can be a spiritual home for all generations, our wonderful music program, our community outreach, and many, many other things that we value here at First Unitarian Society are made possible by the results of our stewardship campaign. We are doing quite well with the campaign, but we still have opportunities for everybody to participate. And those who have renewed their stewardship commitment have been very likely to increase their total pledge. 40% so far have actually done that, and we offer the online opportunity for your pledge. It's very easy. Just like this service has been very easy to see online, it's easy to pledge online at First Unitarian Society. Because of the challenges created by the virus, we are extending our month of generosity through the end of April. So it's actually going to be 2 months of generosity, March and April. We also have established a new date for our Because of You celebration at FUS, celebrating the results of our stewardship campaign. That has been moved to Saturday, May 30th. That's Saturday, May 30th. Meanwhile, between now and that celebration and the end of our campaign, we encourage you to go online for your opportunity to participate. Those are the announcements. See you next Sunday.
Our closing hymn today will be number 159, This Is My Song, to the tune of Finlandia.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace peace for lands of far and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
We do sing of peace in all the lands around the world. We do sing for health and for wholeness. We do sing for staying careful and staying connected. Though we extinguish these flames for today, may striving for our collective wellness remind us that we have enough and that we are enough. Go in peace, gentle people. Go in peace. And I invite you to hear and enjoy one last bit of music.